Oh yeah, headed into uncharted territories. Working on a 6.7. I checked it out the other day. Nasty oil leak. It is, I think a 2015 or 14 vacuum pump bolts backed out. So we've got this nasty oil leak, and I am headed over to change it right now. The gasket. I heard you could tighten down the bolts, tried that, and then it just started leaking more after it tightened down the bolts. So headed over to do that. I heard Ford gets $700 for this job, and something that I read online was you have to pull the fan, but I looked at it and it looks like there's a big bracket for the fan mount that I think can be like slid out and then have access to all the bolts for that vacuum pump and get in there. So I'm gonna do that, get that gasket in, and then put Loctite on these little tiny bolts so they won't back out again. Trying out orange Loctite for the first time. Saw that in the store the other day, figured I'd get it. So I'll keep you posted on how it goes. Looks like I just pull out some intake hoses. That's how I got to the bolts the other day, and then some bigger bolts. So keep you posted. We're on our way there now. So here's what we used for this project. Had a Molly B32630 gasket. I got that on Amazon. I used a 3/8 electric ratchet and a 1/4" electric ratchet. The 1/4" was just to do some hose clamps. You could use your 3/8. I had a 3/8 ratchet. That has a swivel head that's helpful. If you have a regular ratchet, you'd probably be helpful to have a joint there too. If you have a longer 3/8 ratchet to get that belt tensioner off, that's even better. So I had 8mm deep sockets, again 1/4", 3/8, whichever works. That's just to get the hose clamps off, and then the bolts for the vacuum pump out. I used a 13mm deep. That came in handy for all the bolts for the fan bracket. I use 6-point, and I really wish I had my 12-point sockets with me. So if you have 12-point, awesome. And then 15mm shallow. I use that to take the steering stabilizer out to get a little more clearance for that lower bolt on the passenger side. 13mm shallow in conjunction with the 13 deep for those fan bracket bolts. Hindsight, I didn't do this. I wish I did. If you can turn the steering wheel to get your linkage as back closer to the axle as possible, that will give you more clearance getting up underneath here. Awesome to have that. Other than that, you know, a lot of those little plugs came out by hand. The vacuum line I unhooked was with my thumb. This I did with my finger. So that's kind of what we're working with here. It's a relatively low mile truck. You can definitely tell that it's a farm truck here. Ford just did this mobile oil change and inspection and said there was nothing wrong with it. And I'm telling you, all the steering components, the oil pans and everything was covered in oil. So it hasn't been running but a minute and a half, and I'll show you how bad this leak is here. It's all coming. You want to start by unplugging the mass airflow. That's just red plug, push down, pull. Get these all out of here. Dang it, Bobby. That one. I got a little step up here. Okay, that's gonna have to come out, and then we're gonna undo our clamps. Right there. Ooh. That one and that one back here. And finagle that out of the way. Also undid those. I gotta take this bolt out here that holds down the intake silencer, and that should give us some room. Currently working out of my Ford Escape because I have the turbo out of my truck. So now I got to get the belt off here, That's just a 3/8 ratchet. If you got an extended one, even better to get some more leverage. I'm gonna push it towards the driver's side to get that tension off, and then slide it off this idler here, kind of swing it out of the way. Then I'm gonna unplug, actually I'll just do that now. I gotta unplug this fan plug, which is just, I think, for that. Let's see if it's a, how do they got that plugged in there? Okay. They sure don't give you room like they used to. I'll get that belt first. Boy, that's testing my strength. Now that belt's out, I'm gonna go to that plug here. Looks like it's just a squeeze and pull back towards the truck, hopefully. Come on. Just swing up with the right hand, I think. Damn cooler lines. There we go. So now that plug for the fan is out, I've got to get 5 bolts. 1, 2, 3, and there's other 2 down below. I'm gonna put a screenshot of what the part looks like, but it's way down there. I'm probably gonna have to go in front of that pulley with a little extension or a deep socket. Then another one down below there, kind of below where that plug was. Fun. So top 3 were easy. That one's gonna be not too bad. The bottom one over there. Come on, zoom in. There we go. So down by that plug, that one there. Loop. This one, my deep socket. Where are we going? There we go. That other one down there. My deep socket is just a ½ inch too short to reach behind this tensioner, so I'm going to try and go down below. Might have to get a 1-inch extension, something to get in there, or maybe a wrench, double bar it. We'll see. So I'm doing what I can. I'm using an electric ratchet, which is proving difficult, so that's my fault. So I'm gonna take the steering stabilizer bolt out, swing it out of the way, then I can get access up there to that bolt. I'm laying on the ground now. It's been raining here at the Monterey Peninsula, so a little muddy, but we'll take it. The horses love it too. Zoom in there, these guys. Okay, so that bolt was one of those where I had to go in with my flex head ratchet, and it was 1 click at a time, but it didn't cost a dime. It's 1 click at a time to get that broken loose. Then I went in with the electric ratchet. So that was a pain, but it looks like that fan's ready to go, lean forward into the shroud, so we're gonna go back up top now and get that out of the way. So you can see that's lowered there. All right, so we're gonna lift up, move this fan into the shroud a little bit. Come on. So with filming, we're only a ½ hour into this project so far. So once I pulled that lower bolt out, I was able to spin it to clear the tensioner, and look at it sitting in there. Careful not to hit the radiator and damage the fins. These things already have like 12 coolers. Yes, cock-a-doodle-doo. So now I can start getting these bolts out. 1, 2, 3, 4 down below there, and swing that vacuum pump out a little bit. You can see how much this thing was leaking. This is the second worst leak I've seen on a diesel. The first was a 7.3 oil pan. That fucking chickens, man. Roosters. 7.3 oil pan that rotted through. All right, let's get this pump out. So the other day I got here, I tightened the top three because that bottom one, not easy to get to with that thing in place if it is even possible, but I just took out the bottom one and you can see where all this oil's coming from. So I just took those out. Now I'm ready to pop this pump out. So it should be loose. There you go. That's just got that simple T setup like a Model A distributor. But yeah, you can see all this oil that was down there. So, you know, the gasket looks in good shape. Probably could have tightened that bottom one and had some good luck, but if you're gonna go this far just to get to that bolt, you might as well just change this gasket. Freaking roosters. It's not even 5 a.m. I want to clean that surface up real good, so I unplugged this little vacuum line. It hissed. I'm gonna get this other one out. That should be just pushing this blue button here, trying to get a film for you. There we go. Should be able to just push that blue button, pop that apart, and I can just take that pump out, give this a good cleaning, get any old gasket off there. Looks like there's a little filter in there, nothing crazy. So that's that, and I'll clean that surface in there. New gasket. Got these little indents, so it's kind of hard to mess that up. And then see these tabs here, so it's like a metal lined, but once you get the gasket on that, to make it easier for install, you can bend those behind the housing, and that should hold it in for easier install. I'm gonna clean those bolts, and then I'm gonna get some Loctite on them because I don't want this to happen again in the future. But yeah, look at all that oil there. Crazy. That was all dripping down below and everything. So I got that all cleaned up. I got cleaned up down there. Cracking up to myself because I'm like, where the heck's the water pump? Because every gas and diesel engine in the past has had it there, and then I'm like, okay. Anyway, all cleaned up. So I got that on. You've got these little indents, 1, 2, 3 to line up. Hard to mess that up. And now I'm gonna just bend these tabs there and around the back. That will hold it in there. Line that up there, and that around. Okay, so then we're in there. Let's see how it goes with that hose on the back. Probably start to bend it a little there. Yep. Push, leverage. Okay. I'm confident I can put this back on without that plugged in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that oily bolt cleaned up, get some Loctite on there, set that in, make sure those line up so that actually works. And we'll get those bolts in there. Sorry everyone, I forgot my little tripod here, so I'm working off of hoses to film this. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that pump back down. Gasket's hooked on there. I like those metal tabs. That's a nice little feature. Make sure we're all okay. I'm off like for quite a few degrees. Like, why isn't that looking like it's about to line up? All right, so I want to make sure first off, get that pump lined up. Oh boy. There we go. Okay. So that's in. Now I gotta get a couple bolts started. Oh, almost dropped one there. It's not good. I got that Loctite. Again, trying orange for the first time. If someone comments that Ford doesn't call for Loctite in their procedure, they shouldn't be a mechanic. Maybe not blue, but or orange, but I don't want this to happen again. This can get you stranded. I'm not gonna get that fully tight yet. So we'll get all those bolts running. We'll that Loctite and get them tightened down. So I got all of our bolts in. I got them all tightened down. Put a little of that Loctite on. So now I'm ready to hook up the vacuum lines. So I'm gonna get that back onto the T, and then that one just should clip on and clip right in. So now I'm ready to get this bracket back in. One of the bolts fell down in the shroud, the lower one, that last one. So I gotta fish that out wherever it went. But I'm gonna start by getting that top bolt, one of the top bolts started so it holds it up in place. They were all the same length, so have peace of mind, they're not different. And I'm gonna put a dab of Loctite on all of them as well, just so we don't have any problems with that. So I've made a spaghetti mess of the belt in here while doing this. So be mindful before getting that bolted back in. I haven't started, I just saw this belt here. And get that cleaned up as best you can before you might potentially bolt it behind here and be yelling a lot of 4-letter words. So I'm gonna get that belt cleaned up quickly, better arranged. So I got those top two started. I should say, when I took this one out for whatever, these roosters, man, they don't, it's like they know I'm filming. They're quiet when I'm not. So this one was kind of hard to take out. It's something, I don't know, but it went back in fine. So I'm on the next one. Just got to be mindful of your bracket. Make sure you remember to put that in. Don't pinch your plug behind here. That's why I'm leaving these all kind of hand tight right now, loose, until I get them all started. I can check that we're all clear. So, yep, don't forget your bracket for that plug, and get them run in. A couple things here. Helps to get that bottom bolt in before you put this bracket back in, and make sure you get that belt on that pulley in case it came off the fan for some reason before you bolt that in. Otherwise you're gonna have to take that back out again. So yeah, I'm gonna get my plug down there, but I'm gonna get that bolt threaded in before I put this bracket back in, just because there's more room there. So I got those 4 top ones in, so I was comfortable that I know that last one's gonna line up. They make a lot of room for play, and then the ends of these bolts are tapered a little, so they'll start to self-align. So I got those 4 top ones in, they're all tight. I'm gonna plug in that right now so I don't forget. And then I'm gonna go down below and get that last bolt. Save the best for last. I'm gonna work my way back up here to get that belt back on and the intake back in, and we should be in business. So it took me a little bit, but I got that lower bolt in. It's a pain. Having a swivel head ratchet helps a lot, and I think 12-point sockets would have made it a lot easier too, because I had to take it out and like click it a couple teeth and then get it back in. So that's my 2 cents. So since I'm down here, I'm gonna do the best I can to get the belt down below, back on the pulleys here, so we can get back up top and get that tensioner in. Get the belt back on, all back together. Oh yeah, I gotta get that back in. Get your bolt for your doohickey steering stabilizer there and get it back in. So one thing this truck didn't have that most do is a belt routing sticker, but thankfully it had memory. You know, we got in all the grooves. I actually used this because it was longer than my little ratchet here. So for a little more leverage, that is a strong tensioner. I've worked on Caterpillar engines that weren't that strong. So that's back in. Now I just double check. I've got everything clipped in. We're looking good there. Now I can get that intake back in. My vacuum lines are hooked up. And then we'll fire it up and top off the oil. I had my intake tube and the air filter lid. A little gust of wind came, blew some dirt in, so make sure you clean that out because that goes right into the turbo. So, and this is after the air filter, so make sure you get that cleaned out before you put it back in so no debris gets in there. So I got that all back in. That's plugged in, the red button's pushed back in. That was easy to align with that there. Got my clamp tightened down. Make sure that oval one is all the way around. That's tightened in there, the clamp's tight. We got our retaining bolt there back in. And then definitely make sure all these hoses are back in those retainers that they have. So we should be able to start this up and see that it has no oil leaks. So at the end of this, pulled the dipstick. Literally had the oil change the other day and it didn't leave the farm. Just from idling around here, finding the leak and tightening the bolts. That's how low it is. So we're gonna top that off now. So we're gonna fire it up, check for some leaks. But there's not gonna be any. It's exactly 2 hours since I started this project. Give you a kind of time frame of what it's going to take. Probably could have done faster, you know, if I wasn't videoing, and that's just how it goes, but I'm grateful to be able to help anyone that could use this. I am happy to report back that there are no more oil drips because one got on me while I was working on this, so we are looking good. Hope you found this video helpful. Like and subscribe. Little mini donkey is not a fan, but appreciate you coming here. And hey, if you know an easier way or something that we could have done better, put it in the comments. That way everyone can see it. Thanks again for watching. Later.